station, everybody. Welcome, Supreme Clientele, episode 33 here, Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. I got a very special guest, the homie. I've been trying to get him for a minute. I'm so glad we finally got it scheduled, got it worked out. I know he had a rough day at work, he said in the back chat, but he's got the energy drink. He's powering through it for us, so we appreciate it. Chris from Lost in Comics joining us tonight. Chris, how are you, my brother? Thank you for coming through.
Man, doing good, man. And I've been doing this now like 4 years, Stu, and like every time, I felt like this numerous times where I just told you I'm tired, the work day has sucked. And literally when we get into a conversation about the things that we love and comic books, it just brings joy, it brings life. So I have no doubt we're gonna have some fun tonight, and thank you for having me.
Amen, brother. I love that intro. That's beautiful. Well, very well put. Yeah, thank you. Of course, thank you for coming through. Link, my bro, how you been, bro? How was your week?
It's been good. It's been good. I think Chris summed it up best. The other life events can be stressful, but it's like as soon as we start talking about our passions, our loves, man, it's forget about all the problems. And as you notice, I'm working on a prestigious mustache. I know it's not up to par yet, guys, but bear with me. I'm trying to.
You came out the gate strong, there, bro.
Looks good, man. It's a good stash game, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So real quick before we get into it, let's say what up to the chat. We got our boy E here tonight. E, 9-panel grid, just dropped a second video. Y'all go check him out. Sub ups, like, all that stuff. Share if you can. He's putting out great content already. The homie James Phelps in the chat. James, what up? Excuse me.
James.
Good to see you, brother, as always. Homie Verno Station, bro. Oh, yeah. James said, Chris, thanks for the giveaway the other day. You made me Lost in Comics. Get it? Lost in Comics. Oh, yeah.
Go, man.
A lot of ways to take that, man. A lot of ways to take Lost in Comics, man.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Thank y'all all for coming through tonight. Can't wait to get into it. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into our new comic.
Ooh, check out this comic book.
Ooh, are these new?
Yeah, I thought we would start off with Zdarsky's excellent Elseworlds tale, man. This book has been so damn good. Avengers Twilight #4. Nice, solid release schedule as well. I appreciated that. Yeah, I've just really, yeah, absolutely. I've just really, really enjoyed this one. Start to finish, top to bottom so far. I love the momentum. Like, I guess issue 2 was kind of the weakest issue for me, but these last two have just been outstanding, I think, and Acuna's art has just been getting stronger with each issue. It's just been such a fun book. I loved how Chip really embraces these Elseworlds and these what if concepts sometimes, and just writes excellent stories with it. I wish more writers would take chances like that, and Marvel would entertain that more. At least on the, with these Elseworlds type of stories in the same frame that DC does. But this has been great. Overall thoughts from you guys. Chris, have you been enjoying this one? I know I've heard you talk about it on a couple of the videos over there.
Yeah, no, I love this a lot, man. And this is one of those books, this along with the Ultimate Universe happening over at Marvel right now. Incredible Hulk. I'm not gonna include X-Men Ultimate. I did not care. I know I watched your guys' show last week with John, and it's very unique. I'm gonna stick on it for a little bit, but it, like y'all talked about last week, if you were going into that looking for the traditional X-Men, right, it's totally different. But I'm saying all that just to say, man, Marvel's doing some good stuff. And the fact that we are talking about 2 Marvel comics tonight, if you would have told me that last year at the beginning of the year, I would have been like, which one? Like, what the heck are we going to talk about? And there is a lot of positive going on here. And I think this, along with the Ultimate Universe, are the standard right now. And man, that Daniel Acuna art, I mean, the moment I opened up issue #1 and I saw that art, I saw the colors, man. And then you blend that in with some Chip Zdarsky writing, some Elseworlds. Right away, I got the Old Man Logan vibes. I got the Dark Knight Returns vibes from the DC. I mean, you have these characters, and we very rarely get to see them actually age in real continuity, right? So it's a constant, hey, these guys they age, and then we kind of take them back, but we never really get to see them old. So when we do, those books have a longer lasting effect. They become more relatable because we're all getting older, and sometimes our roles are a little bit, and it's like, all right, I actually, it's very relatable. So, man, this book, overall thoughts, man, I am loving this series so far, and I'm sad that it's a limited series and it's going to be over soon. But man, this is fantastic. I love it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Awesome take. Link, my bro, how about you?
I'm right there with you guys. I think I was a little ho-hum on the first issue, and I think it was because I had a certain event in my life going on that I think I was just kind of not really in it when I read it. But I think it was 2 when I found out, like, there was like some Red Skull stuff going on. I was like, okay. But issue 3, phenomenal. Forrest continued that trend. Talk about relatable. That Thor scene where he's talking about, how it's he ran away because he's tired of watching the things he loves withers. And long story short, I've got a dog right now, and she's 14. She's getting up there, but I remember getting her when she was a little puppy, get fit by hand, and it's like, to me, like, I'm almost, to her, in her eyes, I'm like immortal, right? Because she was a baby when I got her. I was like the same size. She's an old lady now. I'm the same. It's like the Thor thing, but that just reminded me of that. But it's just really cool. The art, Acuna's art right now, it's like, man, why isn't this guy getting more high profile? It's not that he doesn't get work, but I feel like he's definitely taking his stuff to the next level with this. It's like you guys said, it's very futuristic. It's got very cool, like, neon. I don't know. Maybe it's to the credit of the colorist, but his work has like a very neon futuristic feel to it, or an aesthetic that I really think is cool.
Yeah, I love his character design too. Like his
yes.
Like the Stark kid. I just love the way he looks. I don't know. Like really good.
Yeah.
Cap. I think Caps looked great.
I was a little pissed off with Thor, man, for just leaving. I mean, he had an excuse, right? But I was like, dude, you left Cap here, man. Now you're coming back. I mean, it had to be done, right? But I was like, man, this whole time, man, you've been gone. And this is what happens when you come back. Obviously, you get the team back together. Good things start happening, man. When you have your star god on the team,
Yeah.
So,
sure. But it kind of reminded me of Old Man Logan in that sense, where it's like Logan took that vow, and Old Man Logan, once he had been tricked into doing what he did, and he was like, I'm never gonna pop my claws again, bro. I'm gonna get my ass beat. Then So in that sense, it reminded me. I feel like that's like Thor's thing. Like, bro, why even get involved when I know it's all gonna play out the same? Like, no matter the outcome, I could save Cap, but eventually he's gonna pass away from old age. No matter what he's going through, like, I'm gonna lose him. But I'm not saying Thor's right, but I get into his mindset of
Now, do you guys think that? I'm just curious. Like, this series is having some success, and Old Man Logan a few years back had a lot of success. They continued. I don't think it was meant to be what the volumes that it ended up being. This is a limited series with Avengers Twilight. Do you think that they start to extend it and maybe develop the story of what happened before here each day? And I think there might be some good in that, but I think they could also really do some. I think it could possibly ruin what they've built here. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think Chip's gonna overcommit to anything he doesn't have a surefire story for. I think.
I don't think Chip would do it. I'm just talking like Marvel in general.
Oh gosh, yeah.
They might try to.
I could definitely see the mind. There's because there's potential to mine there. And that's essentially what they did with Old Man Logan. It started off that brief Mark Millar story, and it spiraled into like Avengers of the Wasteland. Old Man Logan had like a 2 different miniseries, or 2. It was 1 miniseries for the Secret Wars, the Brian Bendis one, and then he had, they're just the ongoing series because it was Jeff Lemire, then it switched to Ed Brisson. But still, like Chris said, it spiraled out of that one small story. So and there's an appeal there, so I could see them doing it.
And then they brought him into like continuity into the universe, into the main 616, bringing Old Man Logan in, and that presented such a weird. Then they had to do the death of Old Man Logan because Wolverine was coming back, and I'm just Marvel has a reputation for doing stuff like that, and I kind of hope that they let this kind of just set and simmer and be its own thing. Really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love these Mark Brooks floating head variants, by the way, that he's been doing. But yeah, anyway, we pick back up. I guess where we left off, kind of with the battle taking place. I love the reflection on the pilot's helmet here with the Thor on top of it, and they got the Spider-Man sticker.
That's great.
I thought that was great, but yeah, like you guys were talking about earlier with the colors here, I just love. I love Acuna. The way that Acuna does the action throughout this series has been fantastic. Eventually, Stark peels off, and everybody's kind of regrouping.
I love how you show the panels, Stu. Like, I know it's got to be some work you put into getting all this on here. I'm like,
it's definitely appreciated.
We get to relive it. Man.
If there's any moments you want to talk about, don't hesitate to say something. I just try to highlight the ones I think that are worthy of. But yeah, I love down here we got Papa Stark on the pool table. Kind of so surreal. This was such a crazy moment, him getting shocked to life with the hammer.
Yeah, just the imagery of having. I'm sorry, just having his head in that container. That I don't know. I guess it's like in liquid, or I don't know, whatever it is. But it's just that imagery and knowing the connection that most of us have to the Iron Man, Tony Stark, to see this. His head in there, and it's like a bit saddening, but also you're like happy that he's still around, even if it's just the head, right? Like, I think,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, Young Avenger! I didn't even peep that line, my man. And when I read that initially, I like that though. Love the Young Avengers. But speaking of, this had me thinking of the Bullseye character, who's now Hawkeye. Spoilers. But I was like, why couldn't I have been Kate Bishop? You brought back Kamala Khan. Why couldn't I Kate? I don't know. That just feels like a missed opportunity for me, but still a cool character.
That is questions. Like, as I'm reading this, I'm kind of like, how did these characters? And that's just the way our brains work, right? Like, how did these characters survive? Like this little group, and like why could
right?
You're telling me the Hulk didn't survive? Like, out of all the, if anybody's going to survive an H day, man, we got it. Or maybe the Hulk will show up, but Kamala survived. Yeah, give us Kate Bishop.
Yeah, that would be dope. But yeah, Tony kind of comes alive and is kind of overwhelmed with the horror. He kind of gains consciousness over everything that's happened. What's happened to his son, most of all. And so, he's down to right this wrong. And I love this little Avengers Assemble a scene right here with old man Luke Cage. Very dope. But yeah, like as you said, we do have our Hawkeye in the form of this Bullseye, Thunderbolt, Thunderbolt's a military, as we were saying in one of the earlier shows. It's a military faction in this universe, but
this just dawned on me. I will say that maybe this is a cool little callback because Thunderbolts have always kind of been about villain reform. She was kind of a bad guy, and now she's a good guy. So she was on the Thunderbolts. So that's I can respect that if Kate Bishop can't be that character. So.
And like her and Steve's relationship has been one of the cooler parts of this series. You know, like him kind of winning her over. That he, you know, he wasn't able to do it on the big screen when he gave that big address and tried to go old school with it, but he has been kind of able to win, you know, the heart and mind of her over, and that's been a cool, you know, thing to see.
I'm a fan of the way that Luke Cage's head is like the Thing.
Yeah, all scaly and shit. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of wrinkles. Yep.
I was hoping to see him in a little bit more action, but I'll take the reserve kind of like team leader role too. It's all good. Yeah. So then we're back with I think it's James Stark and the skull, and the skull's kind of just revealing really his true you know, unfettered nature here. You know, saying that he was the terror of he was the boogeyman of the Reich and all that, and you know, the world's going to be his again. Basically, he's the Red Skull, and he's coming back. He's doing this now. Like at one point, what's he doing with the red face paint? Was he rubbing it on himself or something like that? It looked like. I don't know, like how he was returning to the skull.
He wants to return to form, man. Yeah, like to original. Like he needs that red, you know.
Yeah, he was working.
And I thought this was a little cool, like how he rubbed the red paint on his hands. You know, like our hands are dirty, bro. We're too far in this for you to fuck it up. Like, you know, we got to power through this. Get ready to shed some more blood. That's what it felt like to me. I thought it was a little cool panel.
Yeah. It was cool. It was like cold blooded, and how he told him that he was his father and all that. You know, it was really.
I think that's one of the interesting, you know, parts of the story too. Is James knowing that James Stark's being the son of Tony, and knowing he's got that potential to be a superhero. Right, his father is Tony Stark, Iron Man, and you see how blinded he has been due to Red Skull kind of, you know, forcing his way into James's life, and, you know, adjusting his mindset and all that he's done. And now after Red Skull reveals what he's been doing, what his plan is, I like how this issue doesn't really give James's response to after Red Skull gives him that news. And so it kind of makes you wonder, like, will James, will he maybe come to his senses, or is he going to go further in with Red Skull? And I'm that's one of the parts of the story where I'm really, and now that we know Tony is back, you know, he's at least in his right mind. I'm looking forward to maybe an interaction with father and son, and
that moment's going to be super powerful. I cannot wait.
For sure.
We got the homie Fable in the house station, brother. Thank you for coming through. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Because you can, and I thought this was powerful. That just kind of reinforced what you were saying, Chris. Like his recollection of H-Day and what was happening, and him kind of trying to mount a rescue effort. And I love this panel especially. I thought this was great. I remember that I had a plan, and then I just had pain, and like you just see him like dismembered, and such a powerful moment there. And then it just kind of pulls out to see him being surrounded. He's like, he said something curious. I didn't know how they saw me coming, so I wonder if he's trying to, if that's a tip off to a later plot point or somebody in, I don't know.
That's the spin-off series.
Maybe it was Janet.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
That's the spin-off right there.
But yeah, that was dope. Anyway, just, you know, shows you what he's dealing with. But it is like you said, yeah, it's good to see him kind of like made whole here with the, you know, the Iron Man suit and walking around. Anyway, they're gonna their plan is to take down these new Avengers, right? So that's kind of the mission here at the end of this towards the end of this issue. They're going to wait until they're away, solving or trying to help with some crisis, and then they're going to break into the mansion, steal the files they need. What you got, bro?
I swear, every time I see that Captain America, I'm reminded of the Super
hold
Soldier,
on.
bro. Like
Is
that's
that the
I
amalgam?
don't even think they should call him. Yeah, don't even call him Captain America. Just call him Super Soldier.
Get that
Like straight up.
amalgam.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so yeah, they're gonna wait till they're out, and they're gonna get their files and try to analyze the weaknesses and determine how they're gonna attack them. Anyway, Iron Man launches. Cool. Again, great Acuna art here with Iron Man going invisible, kind of hacking into the systems and stuff. A great little Avengers shot here again. Just looks dope, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my favorites in the book.
Yeah,
so they're in there and they're kind of determined. They're kind of like in there and something feels up. It kind of just feels empty and hollow. And they're on guard. Anyway, they find out that the Avengers are completely fake. They're not real. It's like, all been projections designed to, fool the entire population again and again. A great moment of realization here with the with Cap. I love that. It just gives me that kind of old school Captain America kind. You know what I mean. I just love that look of that panel. It takes me back.
I like Iron Man's armor a lot, bro. Like
I do too.
Deep red with the
colors are great, dude. Great.
I just like how Cap is like he just looks like a boulder, man. Like the way he's built. Like, I imagine him in like his fighting scene. He's a lot slower, but just like rock solid. Like, yeah, dude. Like, I really like his look.
Absolutely,
it's beautiful. Yeah.
Anyway, Skull pops up. And they're worried it's a trap, but Thor busts loose out of the
can't stop him.
The ceiling. Yeah. But then they end up blowing it up anyway, right? I think they hit the mansion's rigged to explode, and it does. But anyway, dude, I am such a sucker for the end of the issue. A great suit up scene, and we get a great one here with Skull at the end, going like full on like Skull Iron Man. It looks like Red Skull with some type of Iron Man tech on. So it's
Ultra.
Chris, is our next issue our last one? Is that correct?
I thought it was 6.
I thought it was 6.
Oh, is it 6? Okay.
I think it's 6.
All right.
Man, how's it gonna end, man? Like, I'm like,
I don't know. It's so good though. This was such a.
Imagine like, Skull's armor. He's got Ultron as his AI. That'd be kind of sick. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work, but that'd be dope.
Yeah, 6 issues. 6 issues.
Okay, cool.
6.
Yeah. Great issue. Great, man. Great story, man. Like I said, I think it's gonna go down as one of the best things Marvel does this year. I really do, and especially if they nail the ending. It's just there's just so much potential there, and people love these kind of stories, man. Like, and we don't get them all the time, and that's what makes them so special. Like I said at the top, right? It's just you have these special stories: the Old Man Logan's, the Dark Knight Returns, Avengers, Twilight. Dude, it's fun. It's like it gives you this alternate, what if scenario, but it feels so real, right, for us. So, it's fantastic, man. I'm such a fan of it.
It's great.
This Hawkeye costume looks familiar.
Oh man,
was it in Heroes Reborn? Was that the Hawkeye costume where it's like the face was covered and had like reminded me of like Wolverine?
I'm not sure. It looks great.
I can't wait to see it in action. Yeah, it looks dope.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Is the Hulk coming back?
I don't know. That would be dope. I'm always down to see the Hulk show up.
I bet you we get at least
shop.
I bet we get at least another character that comes out of the blue somewhere.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Hell yeah. Phelps says it's going to end with Cat getting his AARP card. Oh yeah, it's the simple things in life. All right, let's move on to the other Marvel book, Ultimate Black Panther Tale. This one wasn't as good as the first one to me, but regardless, I still enjoyed this one a lot. I thought it had some great character development, and the story's still very intriguing to me. And I'm very interested in this world of Wakanda and that corner of the Ultimate Universe. Overall thoughts from you guys. Link, I'll start with you this time, bro. Overall thoughts from you for issue 2.
I enjoyed it. Wasn't as crazy. I don't even say crazy, but there were more snap moments in issue 1. But this was still a solid issue. The pacing was done well, and I just kept the mystery going. I offered up some more questions, which I appreciate. So it was a solid issue overall.
Oh yeah.
Oh, can I say real quick? I know it wouldn't work in the movies, but it's like the Casseli's art, Stefano Casseli. I'm loving what he's doing with like Panther's helmet without the mouth, because usually that doesn't work for me. But what he's doing here, it looks really cool. So shout outs to that.
Yeah. Looks great. How about you, Chris? Overall thoughts on this one? Man?
Yeah, I agree with that was one of my takeaways when I read it. Was like, man, it's such a cool. I like how it's, and normally I don't think I'd like that in the past, but for some reason the way it's drawn, I really enjoy that. Overall though, man, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this a lot. Not quite as much as the Ultimate Spider-Man going on, but this is a nice focus, and really in Wakanda, and also I guess just that balance between T'Challa as Black Panther and the balance in him being king, and which one is actually gonna win over, and I like, we're gonna get into it here in a minute, but there's a lot of things I really appreciate about this, and the overall arcing story with the Maker, right, and having these two, was it Kanchu and I can't even remember the two that are
Ra,
right? Ra and Kanchu that are overseeing this part of Africa. It's like, and like they can't get their grasp into Wakanda, and I love that. I just like that they're pursuing that. They actively want to get their hands in there so they can control everything, and it speaks to a lot of things that are very real in the real world, and a lot of political intrigue, I guess you could say, in this book, and I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love this.
You know what it kind of.
Oh, go ahead, bro.
My bad. Real quick, I was gonna say, I was just peeping. It kind of reminds me of Brubaker's Cap, just a smidge, not on that level, but the balance that Brubaker's Cap had with the political thriller stuff, the espionage, and the super heroics, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going on in here. Not, nowhere near as that, but it's got potential.
Yeah, good call though. I like that. Yeah,
for sure.
Engine in the house, Engine Station. Thank you for coming through. Yeah, I love this Boss Logic variant on the right. I think it's gorgeous. Yeah, so let's get into it right away. I love he's receiving right away. He's still troubled after the attack. He hasn't been seen in weeks. I love the characterization and the role of Okoye in this comic. I love how strong of a voice she is for him. How she lifts him up, like when he needs it. Just like a very centered. I think he says during that conversation with the Vodou Khan or whatever, she is my sanity or something like that. I feel like that's very true. But I just love the way that their relationships portrayed.
So real quick,
and then we got this prophecy coming through though that I feel like is trifling, and it's going to cause problems in this the foundation of this matrimony. But yeah, go ahead, bro.
Well, I was just going to say, when we're looking at the panel on the right here, what do you guys make of? I mean, to each their own, right? Every couple's different, but we got two separate beds here. You know, they're not.
That's what I
laying
was just
together.
gonna. I was just gonna say, I don't think just because they're married, I don't think they're intimate like that. I think
Right.
she's definitely his voice of like solitude or reasoning or whatever, but they're
They're
not
like
in a
best friends.
relationship together. Like it was, yeah,
Yeah.
yep. So I don't know. I don't know if that would be a conflict of interest if that future panel comes into play. I mean, maybe we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But no, yeah, that's a good point, Chris, because I do remember distinctly saying, I was like, they're in two separate beds. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, not saying it's not possible, but it's heavily implied. It's not going down if they're not sharing the same bed, you know.
I only do that when my allergies are bad, or I get a cold or something. But
Yeah, you're a doghouse, of course.
yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying right here, your burden is great. You must honor your father, protect your people and your nation. You must be their night warrior. But you are what Wakanda needs. I love how she just straight up tells him that. That's awesome. So I love that she has him in her corner, and I don't know. I'm kind of fearful of what happens to her and their relationship moving forward with this prophecy and all these threats from within and without outside of the kingdom. But yeah, again, before he leaves for the Voodoo Con, he's a little bit hypnotized by them. I think maybe more so than he should be. But I love that do not trust them. They serve their prophecies. They don't serve you. Do not serve them. I love that.
They're reminding me of Dune with the Benny
Exactly.
Gesserit,
Oh, nice.
Benny
Wow,
Gesserit,
yeah.
they're doing their own shit, so that was a
Exactly.
cool little callback.
Oh yeah.
You took the words like literally out of. I was just about to say the exact same thing, dude. Like,
Nice.
yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, dude. Love the Dune references. Let's keep that up, definitely. Yeah. So, with the Voodoo Con, he receives the prophecy about what is it? About the he's going to have his fates intertwined with this figure of
Lady
light,
of Light.
Lady of Light,
Yeah.
woman of light.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah. Fates intertwined. So this woman is going to be special to him, and she's between you and her. There is a bond made during war, and she will give you an heir. Now he wants to believe that this is, of course, Okoye, and rightly so. But she doesn't. She kind of the question she poses in the she is close to you. She is your light. It doesn't really confirm, or it just kind of helps him believe what he wants to believe. I feel like she is, and that's where he says she is my sanity. I never wanted to be a king of war. So yeah,
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
I want to ask you guys a question about that panel of the figure and light. Now, without spoiling anything, did you guys assume that's who it was before the panel was revealed in the last page? Like reading just this panel.
I had no clue, and then when he responded to what was told to him, and he didn't say Koye is my light. Like he didn't necessarily say that. So I right away thought it's not going to be her. It's going to be somebody else. But then when I saw this, I thought, man, in my mind, I thought it could be anyone until the reveal toward the end. But yeah,
I don't know. I briefly thought about Storm, but I don't know. I felt like that would have been too obvious, just and because they're obviously they're the legacy of the relationship in the regular Marvel universe. You know what I mean? I was like, I wonder if they're gonna ship them together right away, if that's the plan, or they're gonna get to it. But I don't know. How do you feel if it is Storm though, and Storm ends up being? Are you good with that?
I don't mind it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't ever mind T'Challa and Aurora together, bro. I think they complement each other well. there's really, I mean, they could have other lovers, but they definitely complement each other. They're very like-minded. And you know, with the Storm T'Challa relationship in the 616, it was always retconned, you know, that they had previous ties. Like here, we're starting from ground zero. We can see their relationship builds. And if you guys have ever seen Avengers Children of Tomorrow, it came out, it was like one of those old school, it came out like 2008. It was like straight to DVD. But it was like Storm, they ended up making an appearance at Avengers around 2010. But Storm T'Challa had his son, you know, and he had like electric powers. So, I mean, that's so far down the line, but I don't mind them having a relationship in here. I think there could be some cool dynamics at play leading to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Do you guys?
Yeah, no, I'm cool with it. I'm just curious how it's all going to go down, right? Because Okoye is the queen right now, right? I mean, he references her as the queen. So I'm just like, is he going to cheat on her and like,
yeah, right?
like in the midst of war, like a moment of passion, which
Storm's
is going to be
Killmonger too. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like,
I'm here for it. Just pass the popcorn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I'm enjoying that. Like, how's it all going to happen, man? What's the breakdown here?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I have no problem. I think it's fantastic. Like, it's a great pairing. And maybe we're probably going to get a better X-Men book here. That's not, it's just in the Black Panther universe, just with Storm.
Oh man, nice. We got Rogue in the house. Rogue Station. Thank you for coming through, bro. Always good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. So talk about uneasy like partings right here. He's talking about I never wanted to be a king of war or whatever, and she's like, Destiny cares a little for what we want. Destiny doesn't care about us at all. So a very ominous, like it's good news, but it's very ominous for those, I think, for him and those close to him. Anyway, then the next thing we go out to a nice little, I like that action shot there by Casseli. Looks great. And then
Black Panther mech, bro.
Yeah, right.
Actually,
what is it called? The throne? Doesn't she call it the throne?
The throne, yes.
Yeah, I'm transferring the throne to you. Yeah, dude, takes over. I love that shot with the purple and pink background of like the mech just wrecking
so
shit.
Cool.
Yeah, so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, this battle we go from there to this battle being reported to Khonshu, or Ultimate, I guess, the Ultimate Universe, Khonshu and Ra, who aren't exactly thrilled to hear that the Panther was using, what do they call it, his sister's toys to toss around their troops on the battlefield. Mm-hmm. But regardless, they have inside information, what they're speaking with, which curiously enough looks like a figure, a lady or a figure of light. I thought that was a little ominous there. The way they chose to represent that. Anyway, they're not sure that they completely can trust this inside source, this inside mole, but they know that they want to see Wakanda brought down. I think I have it right here. Do you trust the spy? No, but I trust that they want Wakanda to fall. So that's basically what we're dealing with here. That we have somebody on the inside circle feeding information.
Who do you guys think the spy could be?
I don't know.
I know me personally, I feel like the female figure, or because they're I feel like that's a red herring. Case in point, in New Avengers, right? The shadowy figure that paid Electro to break everybody out of the raft was a man. It looks like Nick Fury, to be honest. And then the reveal was it was Jessica Drew. So the silhouettes can be very misleading sometimes. The red herrings. Me personally, I think it's one of his 2 security guards, because I know I heard some people toss around the idea of Shuri and Okoye, which solid ideas, but I don't. That's such a, you could piss off a lot of people doing that. Like, what? They're villains in this universe? Like, but with the two spies T'Challa has, they're close enough where they know everything that's going on because they're his spies. But they're not, they don't have any lore. So if they're revealed to be a turncoat, no one cares if they, bite the dust.
Right.
Yeah. And they do seem to like to give each other the side eye a lot. Like they seem to be, you know what I mean? And like, I don't know, they've already been presented as the one who's kind of like uncomfortable with some of his decisions. But yeah, I don't know.
Right.
That's
Question.
a solid guess there. I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah.
I wonder if it's somebody who hasn't been introduced yet, but I don't know. Do you?
Yeah.
I think it could be somebody outside that wants, an outside force that wants to bring it down, or I don't know. But I don't know.
As far as the characters, as far as the characters that have been introduced, I thought about this the other day, and I was like, man, who like? It feels like everybody is to be trusted within his circle, and I think he even makes mention when they're in that room, right? He's like, it's somebody outside of this room, and I'm thinking like it's got to be somebody in that room, like. So I think it's gonna be a Okoye, man. I just that I'm gonna go out and put my my bet on that.
That's
yeah, I like that. That's spicy.
That's just like his
question. Yeah. No, at the time what you were saying earlier about Storm, like how's Storm gonna become queen with Okoye's queen? If she was revealed to be a traitor, they're gonna need a new queen, bro.
Exactly.
Killmonger's gonna become a bad guy. Storm and T'Challa are gonna hit it off, and he's gonna become the villain that we know instead of this anti-hero that he's currently, presenting himself as. I mean, he could be a hero right now, but I feel like that turn, the betrayal with him having like, yo, I want to see what kind of bump you guys,
Yeah.
That would make things make sense. That would make things make sense if she was the spy, and then ultimately, well, he can't stay with her after that, so that would open the door for him and this this other person. That just made me feel even stronger about that. Yeah, for sure.
We got to return to this.
Yeah. Once we get our reveal. Fable says in the ER with the little one. You guys are keeping me company. Oh, dude, I'm not glad to hear that at all, man. But I hope, I hope things get better soon. Hope the little one is okay, dude. I know that's rough. I feel you. This winter has been brutal, man. So sending you love and light, brother. All right, So we learned about our inside spy. Moving on, we learned that So moving on, I'm sorry. We got T'Challa assembling. The only people I can trust are in this room. Curiously enough, after we just learned about them all, we kind of get who is that? Okoye. Like you said, Chris. Now that you put this in my head, man, this messed me up. Now I'm just gonna I'm gonna put everything in that lid because look who's hypothesizing about
who's talking. Yeah,
it would be somebody who feels wronged and this and that. The way
searching.
That's
it just seemed a little iffy.
Yeah, absolutely. So we move from that to they found out, they've been reading energy signals or camouflage. They found an area that the wildlife are avoiding. They decided that, that I guess Khonshu and Ra keep their troops or the base mobile, but this is where it's set up right now, and they want to move on it. Panther wants to move on it alone, which is a horrible idea. He orders these two to Lynx. There's Lynx. Lynx
traders.
Guesses for the traders. He's one of those guys. I forget their names. But he orders them to stay back with Okoye and his sister. And guard the people that.
The last panel you had, real quick, I just want to say I thought that was a cool little bit about how they narrowed down where they were, is because they know a bit about that wildlife. There's some cool world building going on with this book. I really appreciate it.
I like that how he was like, we couldn't track them, but we could track their camouflage or something. I thought that was cool. Yeah. So yeah, Sherry sends him out. She's monitoring him. Of course, he loses signal when he gets close enough. Crash lands, gets out, and is immediately surrounded by troops. It's just getting the full clip there. This is where I wish I had put a close up on it, Link, but this is where we see that dope the mouthpiece on the Black Panther suit, like you're talking about.
Yeah,
very cool look to him. Yeah, so things are not looking good for him, and of course, who comes to rescue him in the his hour of need, but that's Storm. I love this, dude. This gave me
Storm, man.
This gave me Forge and Life Death vibes right here. You know what I mean? Like, good Lord, she's beautiful. Like he's looking up at her the same way. I love the ending of the book. I thought that was fantastic. I'm ready to see this woman in the comic book, though. This is 2 issues in a row where we've just gotten her on the last panel.
1 page, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's go ahead and get some character interaction. So I'm very excited to see issue 3 and see her in the book and see where we're going with this prophecy. I don't know. Putting a baby out there for T'Challa is big business. So I'm curious to see who the heir is going to be and just how this universe continues to develop. It's been great. Like I said, like you said, Chris, I think the Ultimate Spider-Man one has been a little bit stronger, but this has been fantastic nonetheless.
So that would mean that Storm would have to conceive a child. Man, I'm just like, I'm starting to think maybe this is like a misdirection here. I don't know.
I feel like I feel like it's almost too obvious, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, but at the same time, the Ultimate Universe is all about presenting, for the most part, don't get me wrong, totally. They do deviate, but it's about presenting old ideas in a fresh way, or shaking up older things, making them so that would kind of stick with the lore for Storm, even though, of course we're like, it can't be that obvious because they're trying to make it a mystery, but I think that's more or less for newer readers. Like, we're hip to this, we've been around the block. I could not be Storm, but I think that it's going to be Storm.
It's got to be right. Now she has. I've never read this story, but I just looked it up right now, and she has a daughter with Wolverine in Earth 9811, named Torrent Kendall Logan.
That's one of my favorite What If comics, bro. It's the What If Secret Word. They never left the Secret Words. That's like the first Young Avengers team. But yeah, she's got like. She like create like these lightning blasts, but they'd be like shaped like claws. It's pretty badass.
Oh, that's cool.
Shout out to my boy Logan, and he's got Wolverina with Elektra in the remember that one in the late '90s? That was that god awful story.
Oh, Logan gets it in,
yeah,
yeah. Wolvie's he gets around, man. He loves the ladies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Moving on to our last new book of the evening. Tom King and the team behind the fantastic Supergirl. What was it? A Woman of Tomorrow? Am I getting that right? I think that was the subtitle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Return with Helen of Wyndhorne #1 from Dark Horse. As I heard Tom King describe this one in interviews, he of course after Supergirl he wanted to work with Bilquis again. He said, "What 2 things do you want me? Do you enjoy drawing?" She said, "Conan-like things and Wuthering Heights, the Victorian type settings." And he kind of just pieced together a story from those 2 general ideas, which I think is awesome. And this one, that it sounds a little skittish and sketchy, but like. The way this came out, I feel like is really a testament to both of them. I thought this really worked. This one surprised me. I thought it sounded okay, but so Supergirl I loved. So this being the second book, I was excited, but when I heard what it was about, it didn't throw me, because this really isn't my cup of tea usually. But this one, just from page one was just awesome. So I loved it. General thoughts from you guys. Chris, I'll go to you this time, bro. How do you feel about this one in general?
I like this a lot. This was my number three pick out of my top three last week, and there was a time, I guess right after Tom King wrote Batman, where I didn't really like the way he ended that series, and I kind of left a bad taste in my mouth at that time. Just the ending. I think overall he did a decent job on the run. I didn't hate it, but there was a bit there where I just kind of didn't want to read Tom King, and then all of a sudden, I think it was Strange Adventures that I read, and
Yes.
I just really took my time with that book, and I realized, you know what, Tom King is that type of writer where you've got to take your time. I told Robbie this on one of the shows. I was like, dude, take your time with, like, but once you get past that like understanding that Tom King, he can be overly verbose, and I don't think he did that in this issue. I think he did a well-paced comic book where you're getting lots of story. You get a nice introduction, with the caretaker, and kind of she's talking to the reporter, and we're going to talk about it in a minute, right? But it's a well-paced comic. I think Tom King has really, I think over his last few series, I think he's done a good job of not being, at least making it interesting. He's verbose. I'm thinking of Wonder Woman. I'm like, yeah, that has a lot of dialogue. but yeah, no. Overall, I think this is fantastic. I really enjoyed the fantasy elements to this realistic story, and the fantasy elements blended in. Art's fantastic. Solid first issue.
Oh yeah. Link, how about you, man?
What's that, by the way, Chris? I went into this book in the dark, blind, bro. I didn't know anything about it until you guys told me it was on the list. I was like, all right. I enjoyed Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow well enough. It's Tom King. I enjoy him well enough, so I was in. Didn't know anything about the book though, but I was pleasantly surprised. Chris, you made some good points where I myself, I was like, yo, like, this is I still had to remind myself, like, yo, I gotta focus on this. I can't breeze through this like I did with Black Panther. It's not that type of book. But once I got into it, I think, like, I found myself thinking, like, yo, Tom King's found a good balance for, like, because he does like to get overly verbose sometimes, but some of my favorite parts of the comic, to be honest, were the inner dialogue, the narration by the housekeeper or whatever her name was, who was watching after who went to go recruit the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just I think he gave us just enough of, like, exposition or inner dialogue, and on top of the characters back and forth to get a personality. We can pick up on the personality traits, and the art was amazing, bro. I love what Evely does in terms of cross hatching. They do some really interesting cross hatching. I'll point out specific panels, but it fits. It's very dream-like, and it has a dreamlike quality to it, a fairy tale quality, which I think kind of fits the aesthetic of the book. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Shocked, to be honest.
Oh yeah, that's good, dude. I'm glad to hear that. I thought you might be more on the fence or not enjoyed as much, but I'm glad to hear you dug it. I agree with what you both say about King being exposition-y sometimes, and this had the one thing I will say that, like, this had a lot of elements that did remind me of Supergirl in some ways, though. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know, like, that's intentional or that can be helped necessarily. Anyway, a bunch of dope covers.
Yeah.
All over the place. I wish I remember. That's Elsa. What's her name? The
Chartier.
one who did, who did Love Everlasting with there on the left. I forget who that is on the right. There you got a Greg Smallwood.
I like that.
On the left there. That's fantastic. That Oath and the Vanquish. But just and then the Walt Simonson I loved. So great.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, just from page one, dude, right here. Like I just loved the that artwork just grabbing you just right from the get go. I thought it was extraordinary. But yeah, so like much like Supergirl, it's told like in a kind of like a flashback type manner with this old woman kind of recounting this tale of her youth.
Titanic.
Where she's charged with going to bring this young troublemaking woman home to settle affairs of state type deal. And I love like this reminds me like how Supergirl's found in the series, like drinking on her 21st birthday. Yeah, but I love she's laid up in the jail cells where she finally finds her, and is gonna find out like that she's got to bury her father. She gets this headstone, which we find out is still there all these years later. Her father the writer, which she gets to say that the quote is on the tablet is better than the Shakespeare. When he asked her,
quick
he asked her how to
question.
spell Shakespeare. She's like, I don't know. You look it up.
How do you go about spelling Shakespeare? What was the 1900 to 1935 thing? Was that, what was the date for it? I was a little lost.
I think that's how.
That's when she met the family, right? Like, because when the caretaker met, like the time frame when she entered Helen's life. I think that was the
time she might.
I'm not.
Yeah, because
sure.
I think the reporter's asking her. Yeah. I don't know if that's here or if it's later.
No, yeah, I think it was Helen that commissioned the headstone for the 1900 to 1935.
Oh, you're talking about on the headstone.
Yeah, I was confused by that. I was like, was that her dad's name?
Yeah, for her father.
She's 16, man. So he had a child when he was. I mean,
there's a lot of magic at Wyndhorne, man.
That's a.
Amen. Yeah, as we see, it's gorgeous, and I love that she's got this line in here where she, she's been caretaker for all types of high society and nice families, but the estate at Wyndhorne is soars above the rest or whatever. I thought that was cool, because it truly does look like something out of a fairy tale. Yeah, but they walk in and she's just there at the fort. It's got hundreds of bedrooms, and it's only got 4 members of staff, I think.
Immaculate decor, only right by 4 people, bro. It's wild.
Incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. I forget what's her name. The younger boisterous gal. But yeah, she finds the wine cellar and need go no further. And she kind of takes off in the house, and they have to find her later, where she's passed out. So each night she's waking up and saying she's seeing monsters coming in and sleeping with her in the middle of the night. Now she's chalking it up to the fact that she's just drinks all day long, and she's always finding her passed out. She doesn't.
That kind of blew me away though when she cracked the wine bottle open and just starts chugging. I'm like, whoa,
yeah, bro, that was
crazy.
Yeah, she wasted no time.
Slow down.
It was like from Napoleon, right? It was like a very old bottle of wine. Like, man, you got to appreciate that, girl. Like, man.
Yeah. The butler. Oh my God, she's just wasted.
But yeah, one night she gets her first monster encounter. Great freaking art. I love this panel here. We see the monster's really about to attack them, and so it goes to attack something else. In the darkness, it leaps at it. This giant bright sword comes out of the darkness and beheads this thing, and then we get this amazing shot of her grandfather, looking like like this Conan type figure. Another great shot here.
Badass.
Yeah, beautiful way to end it. So yeah, and we go back in real time with the interviewer kind of forward about what's to happen, and of course this is just the tip of the iceberg of what's going on at Wyndhorne, and what the truth of this family is, and all that. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of flew through that one. Did you guys have anything you wanted to go back and focus on, or highlight, or just general thoughts?
There's the artist reminds me of this in particular. Cannot think of his name. I think it's Michael, but I can't even begin to think of the last name. But he did some work on, and it's got a very like. There's a lot of lines, and it's a very it's got a very dreamy quality to it as well. Madame Xanadu is a series that deals with like magic and shit. So I'm gonna look it up and I'll get back to you guys on that because it's bothering me now.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. My apologies. I have an English Mastiff, guys, and he's, I don't know, he's good, he gets crazy, dude. Yeah, he's an awesome dog, man. We had him since he was puppy, man.
He's so cool.
He's a monster, man. He's taller than I am. He puts his paws up here on my shoulders, and he's like, his head's taller than I am. I was just gonna say a couple observations. I love the setup at the beginning of the comic where you find her and what the people in the town kind of think of her. She's got that reputation, so it's a wonderful setting for who she is, and the rest of the book makes sense where she cracks open the bottle and drinks it. She's always constantly drinking every day. She lost her father, who seems to be like, that was the core of the center of her life. Like her and her father, to me, it seems like, man, they were adventurous. He basically taught her, and I'm thinking outside the box here, but taught her how to live a fulfilling life away from wealth, right? Because he could have had all of this. He could be here at Wyndhorne, could have lived this life, but he's a writer, and he became a writer, and he didn't show his daughter this life, Helen, right? He showed her a life of being on the run and enjoying the pleasures of life and things like that. So I like that. I just like that idea of like happiness is not in money and wealth, right? And maybe the monsters are more in there's a lot of monstrosities in money and wealth. So
yeah,
I mean, it's just kind of a brief overview, but some of those ideas that are being played with are kind of what really intrigued me, because I'm a sucker for books like that, and I don't have a lot of money, so I'm gonna say, I think it's better to be, live a nice, modest life.
Thanks to that, bro.
I had taken away from it that maybe her dad, like, I think there's like a reason the grandfather's calling her back to the manor. It's like bequeathing some responsibility to her that I think the dad was running from, that he didn't. Maybe it's like he's got to take up the sword and slay monsters like the grandfather. So that's the vibe I was getting. But I do like that idea that she is like a very carefree. She just kind of she is like the mentality of a dog almost. Day by day, moment to moment. Not really thinking too far. It's clever, but she doesn't really think too far outside of getting by with the day she's currently in. But it's had some great characterization. I'm curious to see if we'll. I think we'll get like flashbacks with the dad and why the dad and the grandfather's relationship is strained. Why his dad never told her of this heritage that they come from. What happened to the mom? Did they mention that? Did I overlook that? Did you hear?
No, I don't think that was made mention of. Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, yeah,
great.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. All right. Moving on. Let's go back with our Throwback Tuesday segment.
Oh, dang. Way back in the day.
All right, guys. Take the. He kept it controversial, and I like that. He went with Wolverine: The Origin by Paul Jenkins. I think we got what Andy. It's Andy Kubert, I believe, right? Andy Kubert, Richard Isenoff on the some. He did a good job, I thought, digitally coloring this. This is the relatively early days of digital coloring. But yeah, Chris, just real quick before we start getting into history and the background and how we got here, why'd you go with Wolverine: The Origin?
When you asked me, I was looking at the shelf, and this was the book that was right there. No,
fair enough, bro. I like it.
No, I have a lot of books that I was looking at when you mentioned it, and well, for one, I thought this was a nice compact book that I could read pretty quickly. But also, one of the reasons I did choose it was I've said this many times on my channel, but I was a late bloomer to comics, man. So I know Lynk, I've heard you talk. I mean, you've got a lot of years, man, in the hobby. I had to try to, and not that I did it, I just wanted to absorb so much knowledge, when I first got into collecting and when I found out, like, dude, you can find out like these characters, there's this and that and all these stories. And Wolverine being one of my favorite characters prior to being in comics, just from the animated series and from the movies, I wanted to dive into Wolverine. So this was one of the first books that I read when I got into comics. And I was like, dude, when I read this, I was very confused. I was like, what? Like, who's James Howlett? What are these wooden claws? And I remember at the time when I read it, I wanted to go look up videos and look up things like to explain this situation to me. And that was when I realized it was a very controversial series, and the fact that nobody wanted a Wolverine origin story from back, and it could potentially destroy this character and potentially destroy the whole Marvel universe, especially when it was at the time it was released, how Wolverine was really the pinnacle of what was happening at Marvel, and the X-Men movie had just come out at the time. I think one of the X-Men movies. So that, yeah, a lot of, when I saw the book, Stu, those are some of the thoughts that went through I mean, I didn't think of all of that, but those are some of the things I thought of right away.
This is a good.
You're muted, Stu.
You're on mute, Stu.
My bad, dude. I love those books that, like you said, that it was one of those books that when you were getting back into comics that you read. I love those books that you read, good or bad, in the canon, like whether they're hated or not, like that means something to you, and have that personal value. Like, so I always like dissecting comics like that. So I'm glad it has that attachment for you. But hell yeah, Link, how about you, bro? What are your did you read this when it was coming out, or?
I did, bro. I did. I was excited about it. I was very trepidatious going into this, hesitant, just because it was like, yeah, it would be cool to know some stuff. But part of Logan's coolness is his air of mystery. The fact that something from his past is always kind of trying to come back and bite him in the ass. And he doesn't know why. Like, what the shit did I do to you guys? Like, I can't remember it. But this did some cool things. Not a bad series. I think some people really hate it, and I don't think it deserves that hate. But it's a divisive series. I can understand some people's grievances with it, but at the same time, it does a lot of cool things. I will say personally, when I read this at like 15, I was 15 when this was coming out. I thought for sure Dog was going to be Sabretooth. So when that shit didn't pan out, right, I was upset. I was like, it was right there. You guys get it. It was the connected.
Right.
We'll get into it. But yeah,
just That's my gripe I have with that. You know, that's more of an expectation thing, because I was talking about this the other day. It's like, I think the reason I'm not too harsh on the Eternals movie is because I had no expectations or no idea what an Eternals movie should be. You know, I just kind of went in there. It was what it was, and I enjoyed it for that. Like, expectations can really tarnish an experience sometimes. You know, so I had to manage those.
That's very true, though. All right. So real quick, I thought before we got into the comic, I'd talk about how we got here. I got a couple clips I pulled off YouTube. This first one is bonus features. They made a bunch of like 13 to 15-minute DVDs like in the Marvel Knights animation days about like famous Wolverine stories, and of course, Wolverine: The Origin was included as one of the 5 or 6 Wolverine stories that they decided to make a DVD production of. But I saw this idea basically came together with. It started with a conversation between Paul Jenkins and Bill Jemas at one of those famous Marvel retreats. I think that was being held at Joe Quesada's house at the time.
Quesada's first retreat.
You what, bro?
As EIC. It was Quesada's first retreat that he had held as EIC.
Oh, okay. All right. So there we go.
Right.
Yeah, because I forgot to nail down the time frame of that, so I appreciate you. Yeah. So the Marvel Encyclopedia, by the way, again, let's give it up for Lynk, man. So always coming through with Marvel knowledge. So yeah, it started with kind of a conversation there, and we have Quesada and others giving a little bit more detail here.
For lunch, Bill posed a cryptic question. He said, "What's the greatest Marvel story never told?" And we were sort of, thinking about it, and he said, "The Origin of Wolverine," and everybody in the room sort of bristled.
We had never told the origin of Wolverine, and there became sort of a culture that Wolverine's origins were shrouded in mystery and that we should never tell them.
Because if you tell the origin of Wolverine, it's going to take something away from the character, because there's so much cool about him being mysterious, and we hint at things here and there, and nobody gets a really clear picture on it of the character, and we really think that that's part of the mystique of the character. And I kind of believed that, and I only believed it because I had heard it so many times. Well, it must be true.
We always say no to everything. We can't do this, we can't do that, we can't do this.
We were afraid of, doing a project that was high profile and spending a lot of.
Real quick, that's Bill Jemas, the president at Marvel, president at the time, and right there in the blue, and the British guy is Paul Jenkins, the writer, who had done Inhumans with Jay Lee in the Century as well.
Money and losing it all. We were afraid of criticism from fans who wanted Wolverine to stay a mystery. The irony of Marvel is our most loyal fans are our most vociferous critics. But then there's that other irony that, we should have the courage to tell the story about our most courageous character.
I really just started asking myself, is that really true? Do I really honestly believe that if you tell the origin of the character, you destroy a big part of the character, and we're going to lose one of our biggest marquee characters at Marvel because fans won't be interested anymore? And I realized I didn't believe that at all. What I did believe was that if we're going to tell the origin of Wolverine, it better be an incredible story, because if it's not going to be an incredible story, then you will do damage to the character.
I very distinctly remember Bill Jemas saying one sentence that I really admired. He said, "I am no longer going to have the marketing department tell you what I want you to make. You're going to tell me as editors what you're going to make, and then it's our job to sell it." And that was such a shift in the way that comics were being done at that point.
Bill had said something very, very important, which was, you know what, guys? If we don't tell the origin of Wolverine within the pages of the comics, don't be surprised if Fox Studios doesn't decide to tell an origin in the movies. And the truth of the matter is that if that happens, then the comics will end up having to follow the movie, which we would never want. So I said, we should get to it first.
And so Bill put his money, in a sense, where his mouth was by saying, we are going to make the origin of Wolverine, and we're going to sell it. And we're not going to protest about this anymore.
So once we decided we were going to do it, we did the press release, Marvel shall now reveal the origin of Wolverine. And then we looked at each other and said, well, we're really not going to reveal it. We really have to write it. So there began a 6-month process of generating the ideas and the stories and the looks that became the origin of Wolverine.
So, yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool clip about how it all came to be.
It's powerful stuff.
Yeah, I
So
think this goes back
Bro,
to the good and the bad with Jim is I think what Tom
yeah,
Brevoort said was like in some ways he was, you know, he was not helpful, and he got in the way, and he interfered too much, but in other ways he shook up foundations or old ways of doing things that just weren't working, and eliminated them or asked questions of why not, why can't we do this, which is I think something Bendis
I
also did when it came to,
yeah.
you know, his run at Marvel, like, you know, kind of shaking them out of the old ways of moving
I wish that
through stories.
the whole marketing thing where you say you tell us what you're gonna make and then we'll design the marketing around that. I feel like that was a key thing, bro, because you know, early 2000s, it was all about the creator's idea, what the creators really wanted to do, and they sold it around that. And now I feel like there's been a shift where it's marketing telling people what you're gonna write or how you wanna, you know, what kind of book we want. And not to say it's the entire line, but I do think that you know, they need to get back to that if they're not doing that, like, because I mean, you had so many great things coming out around that era. You know, I think that speaks for itself.
Yeah, when I hear that, when I watched that video, I'm thinking, I think they had the right idea in, hey, let's break the mold. Let's tell stories that we've been afraid to tell. And I'm watching that. I'm like, I'm getting pumped up. But then when you read the book, it's pretty. It's like it's kind of mediocre, man. Like for all this, you know, like I said, if you read the introduction to the trade paperback and the origin, and like it's wonderful, and you read the end, the afterword, it's great, man. Like they had their mind in the right place. The execution, however,
was off.
It's not horrible, like you said, Link. You know, I read this very early on, like I told you guys, and I remember even back then, I told you I felt confused, and I felt like this didn't like vibe with what the Wolverine that I knew, and I don't think it obviously didn't destroy the character, but I know a lot of people. The Pouch, my co-host on Lost in Comics, he hates this. Like every time I've ever brought this up, he's like, that's not even a real, like that's not his real origin. Like that's just like he thinks this is like an Elseworlds thing. He refuses to accept it, and I think there's a lot of old school fans that have that mindset because they even hate the wooden claws, right? But yeah, the execution was possibly not where it needed to be for such a wonderful big idea.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're gonna tell an idea like or a story of this magnitude, you got to come correct, and I don't think it did that, especially when you have, you know, those early Wolverine stories like with you know, Claremont and Frank Miller that are just like so pitch perfect and just do a great job at illustrating a early slice of his life, or Barry Windsor Smith with Weapon X. Like I feel like you don't have to go you know, that big to tell an effective, like, you know, all time not only Wolverine story but Marvel story, which was what Weapon X and you know, those type of early Wolverine stories are and can be. But
And
yeah,
I can
I thought it started strong. And Jenkins said,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the first 3 issues are mainly him, but after that he was just trying to. They realized they had a hit on their hand, and he was trying to wrangle ideas and make it all make sense. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it had some elements that worked, but I don't know. It was so much of. It felt like we just want to give nods to like, you know, elements of his past here in the origin story. You know what I mean? It didn't. I don't know. It felt like they were trying
There
to
were
take
some cool ideas. Like I like the whole contrast of Logan, such a laid back, living in nature dude, that to see that he came from a bunch of money was like, oh wow, you know, this guy who's always, you know, living by himself, or like just kind of, he can live like a bum sometimes. It was I could see the appeal in that. Like Chris was saying, it was the execution. There were some cool ideas. It was just them wrangling it all together. It wasn't too cohesive. Like the Rose that I feel like, you know, there were some things they were reaching for with the whole, I think her name was Rose, but that's why
Rose.
he's
I
so
like
big on redheads.
Yeah, I like yeah, the redheads with the green eyes. I respect that.
There you go.
You know, yeah. I don't know. It was curious with him being a timid rich kid for the first part of the story. You know.
Like initially you think, I mean, I don't know if you guys thought this the first time you read this, but right when you're reading it for the first time, I was thinking that the dog, right, was it Thomas Logan's son? I thought, oh, that's got to be Wolverine, right? That's got to be Logan, you know, eventually. And then eventually you find out, oh, it's actually the person you wouldn't think, which is the sickly, you know, rich boy. So, but it also is kind of fitting for, you know, later in Wolverine's, as in all of comics, right? He's always got that heart at his core, which is another, I think, a good idea that they put in here. The foundation of who he is, raised by a good man. You can see, even though it's not really his real father, but he's raised by a good man, who he considers his father. And yeah, so I think that part is fitting. You see the heart of who Logan is in his youth. But yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I've no.
That's a good point.
Very true. Very true. And like I said, I think it's like it's curious how they take those elements that are already established now, because we do have so much of Wolverine, and they kind of, you know, backtrack it and rewind it. Like I thought that was it was done well in some parts, but just not cohesive enough. And the story I didn't like how it kind of like reset and they left. You know, after the accident and his initial claw reveal. But yeah, Rose is essentially hired to, you know, go here and be young James's friend. He's frail and sickly. His allergies keep him inside all the time. Yeah, there's Mr. Logan, who's really
groundskeeper, or whatever.
Yeah, the groundskeeper, but really the father, and like this guy's like a dirtbag, but you know, she still wants to be with him. Always getting drunk, always beating on dog. You know, taking.
You know, now that I think of it, sorry, but this popped in my head. I remember reading this, and I was kind of flipping back through pages when it was like, James, who? Because, you know, the Mr. Logan looks just like Wolverine. So you're assuming his son Dog, he's treated like shit. So you're almost like, oh, Wolverine's been treated like shit his whole life. Like, yeah, I do remember thinking, like, I was confused, like, hold on, did I miss something? So James is his brother? Is that Wolverine's brother? You know, I was very confused when they had that little reveal.
I agree.
Like,
yeah. And initially, Dog seems like, I mean, he's actually a pretty decent character as a kid. When him and Rose and James are
they're all friends
outside. They're friends. Yeah. He's friendly. Yeah, of course, things take a turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Comic Vet in the house. Comic Vet, what up? Thanks for coming through, bro. Appreciate you. What do we got? He says, all I've never needed to know is that Logan is the best there is at what he does.
He is, man.
That is true.
Amen, bro. Hold on, a fable. And, I like what Phelps said. Teenage Phelps would have loved Helen. This is for Helen of Wyndhorne. Low self-esteem with daddy issues was my sweet and Fable said he's good. We thought it was the appendix, but I think it's a good old-fashioned 28. Well, that's great to hear, bro.
It's good to hear, man.
Yeah. Thank for everybody in the chat for coming through and being part of the show. We love y'all. Hope y'all are doing well this Tuesday evening. All right, moving on. I think I'm trying to get to the our claw reveal here in issue 2. So yeah, what did you guys think of the claws in this? Chris, you mentioned them earlier. Did you guys like the claws of this one? The claw, it reminded me of the bone claw, so I thought it was cool. I dug it for what it was worth. Did you guys like the claws in this, and how they kind of stay like half in, half out for a while after this initial?
Yeah, I mean, they're okay, man. I mean, they're not adamantium, man, but you know, I mean, he's young. I guess it makes sense. So it gets the job done. I don't have any strong feelings one way or the other. I don't hate it. I don't love it. But yeah.
Yeah.
They're not deadly looking. I will say that. I know he's just young and stuff, but there's certain panels that are just like anyone could break those bitches off. You know?
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like get a saw and just cut those things, man.
But yeah, James he rushes him and ends up stabbing him in the stomach. This is after he's witnessed him kill his father. Shot his dad point blank with the shotgun. Curiously, he's there to take Elizabeth or whatever, and she goes kind of without trouble. But he runs him into his abdomen, and then we get the reveal here at the end of issue 2. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was just gonna say that Wolverine's mother was either very mentally ill, which is nothing to joke about, or she was just super toxic, bro. I'm gonna go for the latter because she was. First you're mad about him shooting the husband, then she's about to shoot Wolverine or James, and you stop that, but then when he defends himself, you get pissed. It's a lot of just toxic shit going on, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess, you know what? I guess it's kept in the theme of Logan always being a tragic character, bro. Like, it established that he's had heartbreak since he was a little boy. Like, this has been following him his whole life. This kind of just, he can't. Everyone he really cares about eventually leaves him in some shape or form. So, I guess they did a good job at establishing that mythos in that era.
Yeah. But, I think I agree with you, Link. Like, I really hated his mom in this series, and it's like, number one, at some point, she cheated on James's real dad or her husband, and then her reaction to all of this situation, instead of comforting James, her son, and trying to be understanding of the situation. She basically just wants to get rid of him. And I don't think I think it is the latter. I think she's toxic. And I think everything you just said is very valid. I think it's fitting for who Logan is. He's a tortured character in every sense. And that goes down into his origin, and it reflects all the way through his life. And, sadly, not everybody grows up, great, and some people have stories like this. You can go watch a ton of Netflix series of documentaries and things that parents suck sometimes, and I think seeing that reflected here, it gives you a nice it's very fitting for Logan, man.
Because he was always playing like the part of obedient groundskeeper up to this point, so we kind of see his true nature really on display here. Also, I think, moving on into issue 3 here, Dog gets it. There it is. Good shot. Did you guys enjoy the artwork throughout? How did you feel about the artwork overall? Did y'all?
I always enjoy the Kuberts for the most.
It reminded me of that 1602 type of aesthetic.
Yes. Was Eisenhower the inker or colorist on that one too?
I don't know. That would make sense though, wouldn't it? Because it feels like the same type of.
Could you guys have a preference between Andy and Adam? My bad.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
I'm an Adam. I feel like I'm more of an Adam guy from the Wolverine days back in the 90s.
Same here. I'm an Adam. I'd go Adam any day.
But Andy was such a big one too. I don't know.
Yeah, both
both
fantastic.
I don't love the art, and it's not that it's bad. It's just when I'm reading the story, I don't. Just for me, it doesn't feel like a Wolverine story. But obviously, it's when he's a kid and it's his origin. But it just just something about it just doesn't feel right. I feel like they could have gone a whole other direction with the arts. I don't hate it. Like, that's a great panel right there. I mean, with the claw marks across his face. There's some really good stuff in here, but overall, I don't know. For me, I just don't love it for this story.
I don't know if it's the art or the colors, but it's a very vivid book in a lot of ways. I don't know if that the color palette matches like the tone of the book,
right?
Like of the there's some beautiful artwork, but I don't know if it, like Chris was saying, it fits what the book was going for. It's like at this another is like just like Winding or the House of Wyndhorne. What was that shit called? We just
Wyndhorne.
Yeah, Wyndhorne.
Wyndhorne. It's got
like a Victorian feel.
Quality.
Yeah.
So that's his grandfather.
Yeah, but
sorry, I was reading that.
No, man. No, absolutely. So I'm trying to figure out. Okay, yeah, so where these two are on the run, obviously. I think they're only able to aren't they able to get some money enough to get out of town? The grandfather. I know, yeah, from James's grandfather. They go to Rose tries to go to her aunt. She's turned away. So he's able to get money for the train and leave for good. They're going to go to they're going to go to like over there and go into a remote mining camp is their deal. I like this too, how they start to develop his senses and his other powers. He can I can hear someone walking in the servants' entrance, and I can smell there are 3 people in the maze, and his other senses and powers are starting to come out since I guess that traumatic event kind of released everything. I thought that was a cool little way of showing that.
Yeah, I agreed. And one thing I do love about this whole sequence here, and after everything goes down, where his claws are revealed for the first time, I really love that Rose sticks with him, right? Like at least somebody's there for him. And like that could have gone another direction also, right? She could have thought, you're a freak, whatever. But she ends up being the one to stick with him, take him away. And she sticks around for a long time. So I like that aspect as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing where I think they were
okay.
One thing I think they were kind of trying to tie too much into his mythos was the whole memory issue. Like for me, it was like when Weapon X gets a hold of him, that's when he loses all his memories. You don't need to establish that he had, it was kind of like to me, they kind of implied he was trauma based. He was blocking out certain things because of the trauma of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I felt like that was certainly that could happen, but I felt like that was them trying to tie into the Wolverine never remembering shit, or Logan never having all of his memories, when that could easily just be explained. As soon as Weapon X got a hold of him, turned him into Weapon X, bro, that's when he lost all his memories of everything beforehand.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That was just one thing I noticed.
That was an observation I made as well. Like, man, he was still young when you realize that every time Rose would try to talk to him about his past, or he didn't want to talk about it. And then eventually he's like, he completely loses, recollection of everything that happened back then. Right. It happens. I know people block out trauma, things like that, but he completely forgot like all the foundational details, like even to the point of forgetting his name, like he thinks he's Logan as he gets older. I agree with that, Link. Like, I'm like, you could have saved that and allowed that to be what it is. Weapon X.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But here towards when they get to the money camp at the end, this guy's trying to get a name off of him, and Rose gives him the Logan name. The boy looks half dead. He needs to.
Interesting.
yeah, so we show up in the mining camp, and this is kind of like Logan. This is kind of like the setting for his I guess his coming of age. We could kind of call it. You know, he starts to become more comfortable with you know, the wild hunter side of himself. He's still picked on by this bully in the camp. Cook, I think, is his name. The big guy down there in the bottom right. You know, the first time he introduces him, he's like helping him with the rocks, but he sets it up on the edge and lets his whole cart fall down. Guy's like a dick from day one. You know, just like the camp bully type deal. But yeah, through his interactions with Cook and, you know, other members of the camp, we kind of see him, you know, come of age more or less in issue 4, I think it is here. You guys got any thoughts on Cook or, you know, Logan? Kind of, you know, I think he keeps his wilder side more hidden in the mountains, running with the wolves and all that. The running with the wolves part was pretty cool to me. I did enjoy the art with that.
Yeah,
This is a good part right here.
Yeah, here where they're showing him being.
yeah.
He's getting his Conan on. He's saving. Oh God, thank you, saved me for that deer. Thank God.
Yeah, the part with Cookie, dude, I'm like, dude, the whole time I'm like, kick his ass, dude. Like, come on, like pull out those claws, man. One time, just give him one stab in the stomach, man.
You know what it reminded me of? It vaguely reminded me of the Logan's introduction in X-Men, the first movie, where he's in the cage fight, and the guy confronts him afterwards because he's bald and shit. He's like, "Yo, I really took a beating out there," and he's kind of like trying to bully Logan a little bit, and Logan's just quickly ends it. But it gave me those vibes, just a little bit, like a callback to that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me get to the chat real quick. Phelps said, "Could you use his claws to smoke them?"
I believe
if you treat your kids bad, it'll unleash the mutant gene. Yeah, that seems to be the childhood trauma. Definitely seems to be in the mix. He says, "I remember loving the digital colors at first, but it's so hard to look at nowadays." I feel you there.
You know, I loved fucking slow motion when the Matrix came out. I was like, put everything in slow motion, bro. Now I'm like, use it sparingly. You know, like.
I can't wait for y'all to cover Dog's Return. It's really a time traveling dinosaur hunter. You probably think I'm joking, but I heard about that.
I've read Wolverine and the X-Men, bro. Jason Aaron. It's not a bad series, but he does some questionable things.
I remember that. He's a teacher at the school, right? I remember reading that.
He ends up becoming.
Yeah. Fable says, not an expert with this art. Definitely leans to indie for me. Yeah, absolutely. Rose gave Wolvie herpes. That's why he's always pissed off in there. Phelps getting real biographical tonight. I love it. Yeah, but yeah, here we go. So he finally does. I think, you know, throw down with Cook.
Turns out for him,
yeah. No, actually, he's throwing down with Cook. He lets Cook beat his ass. Then his buddy comes through. And I think this is the mistake he ends up making, right? Because this guy ends up taking Rose from him. I forget old dude's name.
Smitty.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's savagely beaten on him one time. Smitty saves him. You know, from Cookie, and Logan runs off. But towards the end of that issue, we get the wolf scene here, which I thought was cool. You know.
Yeah, I like that he's starting to kind of embrace exactly, embrace that side of himself. Rather, like this whole time, he's kind of shunned away all his memories up to this point, and doesn't want to remember anything to do with what happened that day that his claws came out for the first time. And this is nice that you start to see, all right, this is Wolverine. He's trying to figure it out and kind of embracing this hunter Wolverine side, which is cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Um,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a sucker for anytime I see Wolverine running with a pack of wolves, bro. Like that's
Yeah.
one of my favorite.
yeah, it always works, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, issue 4, he gets assigned to be, there he is running with the wolves again in the beginning. Dope shot right there. He gets assigned to be the dynamite handler by Smitty, but he gets his dynamite sabotage, and we get like a bad explosion. People get hurt. Cave-in happens, and men die in that. Logan is a survivor, and we get this cool scene where he's saved a young boy. And I already passed that. My apologies.
Yeah, Cookie's a real ass, man.
Yeah,
it went from being, just being a bully to, man, I'm gonna shorten this fuse and go ahead and take him out permanently. I'm like, damn, man.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Logan's able to save a boy. Later that evening, he finds Cookie going through the cabin of one of the killed miners. And he gives him the business, unleashes his pen of fury. Then on the way back, he sees Rose and Smitty making out. I can find it. Oh wait, I think I got ahead of myself, guys. My bad. Rose and Smitty making out kind of send him on a tizzy. He can't deal with it, and he kind of goes like super crazy, super wild.
Berserker rage. No, it wasn't that level of crazy. He would have everybody.
Dude, of all the things he went through, though, like for him to, he doesn't. It's not obvious that he loves Rose. I mean, there is that one scene, right, where she's taking a bath, and you can kind of see where they're both starting to grow into their own, and they're becoming older and becoming adults, or they are adults at that point. But there's never any part. I mean, he's always so quiet, right? He never says how he feels. He doesn't. She always is trying to talk to him about the past, and you almost wonder if it's kind of his fault that, I hate to say that, but that she didn't. I think she was
found comfort in someone.
Yeah, exactly. Found comfort in Smitty when it was there for his taking for Wolverine, for Logan, and it's one of the saddest parts is this whole part where she actually falls for somebody else, and I think this is the thing that really pushes him into being who he becomes.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely seems like a big motivating factor, or at least it's set up to be in this one. But yeah, I don't know. The ending was kind of flat for me. I don't know about y'all, but it's like he has the big showdown in the ring against both of them. He beats up on Smitty real bad, for like real bad. Finally gets his revenge. And then, not Smitty. I'm sorry, on Cookie or Cook. And then he's got Smitty in the ring as like the champion or whatever. He lets Smitty kind of take him out, so he can get the money and get on a train, and he's kind of sacrificing himself so Smitty and Rose can go live a life, which I guess is kind of true to the mythos of Logan and stuff like that. But as an ending to this kind of like the end of this is how we're going to pull the 6 issues together. This just did not work for me. I don't know about y'all. How did y'all feel about it?
Same.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And we could have, like, the dog thing was cool, like, but like you said, Link, they could have leaned into the Sabretooth aspect of that and gave us like a different ending, especially moving forward with all the history between those two. I just thought it was like a missed opportunity to at least get the ending.
Like
you had elements there where it could have been something decent.
That's I don't know, like I was thinking of what you said earlier, where it's like it started off well enough, but it's just like towards the end, it's just not so much, but there's just some lingering things that just didn't sit well. Like Sabretooth thing, I think that would have, they had to heavily imply some sort of relationship between them beyond them just knowing each other for so long that would have been like, I don't think people would have been mad had you revealed they were brothers. Like, it's almost like Sabretooth's always taken the approach of he's his big brother picking on his younger brother this whole time. So it would have really made a lot of sense. Like, he's the big brother who's always a jackass. But I don't know. It's like the Rose thing. Did it? What happened? What did that?
Yeah. Well, yeah. You know, Rose and Logan and daughter going at it, and Rose, like, you know, Rose is trying to stop him and runs into the claws. Of course,
I hate that.
Right there, top right. I hate it too. And so Logan's,
I think it would be more powerful if what Chris was saying earlier had the ending just been that he didn't know how to communicate, so she found her comfort in another man
and left.
And that was how that's what made him exactly. That's what made him like, yo, I'm on my own, bro. Like, I think that would have been way more powerful.
We're gonna go buy into that whole part of, that's the part of like his origin and his you know, his like his the mythos and his canon that I don't like is like he brings death and awfulness and happiness to like everyone, especially the women that are, you know, around him and close to him. And like this just kind of reinforced that. And I felt like we just talked about, if you had just let her get on that train with Smitty and leave, then it would have been every bit as effective as, you know, the loss. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It just, I didn't like that we went back to that trope, because I feel like he, you know, above all else, he goes hard for the ones that he loves. He will lay it all on the line, you know, until he's, you know, he will regrow back from a microscopic cell and come back at you. Like, I feel like he's a protector. That's one of the things I love about him. Right. And that's always drawn me to him is that protective nature of him, and like him just like killing her after they had been through this and whole story together. Just that didn't work. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And the proper ending would have been she leaves with Smitty. They go start their life, and that is enough, you know, torture for him. That he doesn't have to literally kill her. Like, just
that just, you know, what would be really shocking? She dies, but Logan's the one that kills her. You can tell that's what was going on in the retreat.
She lives, and in future stories, you know, he finds her. They fall in love again. Cool. You know, somehow. But man, missed opportunities.
Absolutely. All right, but well, that'll do it for Throwback Tuesday. Thank you, gentlemen, for going through it real quick. I know we're kind of over on time, so I'm gonna get to our flowers real quick, and then we'll do our PCP schedule. You wanna let me do it.
I got some
fantastic intro.
Roses are red, violets are blue.
Flowers for you.
I love that.
Lynk, I'll let you go first, bro.
Yeah, I actually want to give my flowers to a particular brother of ours this week, and I kind of want to go into why he's a bad person. All right, which I'm going to tell you. And this is none other than Nick, Comic Clutch, right? Our brother sent me. He was kind enough to send me Still Streets, Matt Keeney.
Nice.
Tom King, Sick Baby, Wonder Woman, Art Germ.
Nice.
And this is what I've been looking for. I wasn't able to get to the shop. Yeah. With the SIG.
Damn.
And I wasn't able to get to the shop. So this is what he originally got me. But these others were goodies, right? And so I'm like, yo, bro. That's awesome with Nick. That's not why he sucks, though. I'll get to why he sucks. I love you for this, Nick. This is great. So I'm sitting here thinking like, yo, bro, I got to return the favor. Nick sent me a few things. I've never sent anything out. And I remember, you know, I didn't have access to my comics for about a year and a half. But before that year and a half happened, I remember Nick was talking about how he had issues 2 through 4 of Wonder Woman Dead Earth. And I just so happened to have an extra issue, right? So I was like, I'm going to send it to him. And so that didn't happen because I lost access to my comics. Fast forward to now, so I'm loving the gifts he got me, and I'm like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna send Nick that extra because I just came across that. I was gonna send Nick that Dead Earth I told him I was gonna send long ago. I've got the address, I've got it packaged up, and like a day and maybe 2 days after that, Nick's in the back chat. Guys, I just got done reading Wonder Woman Dead Earth. It was fucking great. That's why Nick's a crappy person, right? That's why you suck. You ruined my gift to you that I had it all planned out, and now I've got to go back to the drawing board. But beyond that, thank you, brother. I've been wanting to jump on some Mad Keeney, bro. I can't find it online, so thank you. I do appreciate it. Wonderful gift.
Yeah, I agree with you though. Nick is of course an awful person. Let's not forget it out there.
Thank you.
But we love him nonetheless.
Thank you. Yeah.
We love you, Nick. Yeah. Incredible gifts, dude. That's awesome.
Very nice.
Chris, I'll let you go next, bro. You got any flowers to give tonight?
Yeah, man. I got a dozen flowers here. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out. So last week we had a live show last Tuesday, and we got into a big conversation about just supporting indie creators. And there's some real shady, crappy practices going on out there, even with some of the independent publishers. You know, we talked about this whole issue that Scout Comics has been going through. I don't know if you guys are aware of all of that's happening over there, but basically some of the creators have come out and that they haven't been paying them. They ghost them. They don't, answer emails, and it sucks, man. Like a lot of these indie creators, man, they're putting their heart and soul into these comics, and for a publisher to kind of just to not appreciate them, it sucks, man. So my flowers are going to this indie creator that his Jonathan Hedrick. A lot of us are aware of him. I talked extensively about Dream Master last year from Black Box Comics. He did just a wonderful.
Did you ever?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. No, did you ever check out the recount? I think you did the recount. That's what I. Yeah. Okay, that was
recount. Cool. Yeah, recount and that was a Scout book. I know he had some issues with Scout last year, and just all in all, just to say, man, I want to support these indie creators any way that we can. And Jonathan Hedrick is one of those dudes that he's a great guy. If I've met him in person, he will do anything, man, for his fans, for the people that he supports. But he came out with a new comic from publisher Keen Spot. It's called Can I Scream? And you can actually go onto his any of his social media feeds, and there's a link where you can actually purchase this book. And what's really cool about this, it's a one shot, but his wife is an artist, Francisca Fantini. If you've ever seen her art, beautiful art. But this is the first work that they've done together as a couple. He does the writing, she does the art in the entire comic. $6.99 for the one shots, and again, just a great way to support indie comics, support a creator. He's talked very highly of this publisher Keen Spot. So just a shout out to Jonathan Hedrick, shout out to his work. He's one of those writers that really resonates with me. He's definitely not an overly verbose writer. He really allows the art to really shine in his comics and his artists to shine. And I feel like since the recount, I mean, he's just been on an upward trend. So I just want to shout him out, shout out this publisher Keen Spots, and that is here's some flowers for you guys.
Yeah. Hey, I like that, dude. Hey, that was beautiful. Appreciate that, man. Thank you for doing that.
That's how I'm gonna start giving.
I know, right? Yeah, they're poetic. All right, I want to keeping with tonight's theme of artists who work with Tom King. I wanted to highlight a book that didn't work out. It was an unsuccessful Tom King book, but I thought we were talking about it earlier this week in the back chat, and I just wanted to give some flowers to Clayman for Clayman's work on Heroes in Crisis, man. The work he did in this in this book on the art was crazy. There's some he
Best
did all
part
these,
of the book.
these great title pages. Absolutely, I thought this story had potential. I thought the story had potential,
Yeah,
but
yeah, it started off well enough.
yeah, his art was just fantastic, man. So I wanted to make sure to give
I actually
everybody gives the flowers to the artist
I
when the book goes crazy, but this one unfortunately wasn't so good. But I thought the art was amazing. So yeah,
I enjoyed those Dave Gibbons 9-panel grids he did of the heroes being interviewed throughout the book. Like that, those are hard to make entertaining, bro. But he did a great job with those. So definitely shout out Clay,
completely
man.
agree, dude. Yeah, and like the it's just such clean line work, dude.
Yeah, he's incredible, man.
On the faces, yeah. So yeah, so heroes. All right, real quick, let's do our PCP schedule and then we'll get out of here because we're late. Chris, thanks for hanging around with us tonight,
This has been fun, guys.
Hell yeah,
had a great night.
So Geeks Unleashed, Link, tell us about this one real quick, dude. You doing the reading club at late reading?
Yeah, Jasmine, Mark, and I, we covered Man Without Fear, Frank Miller, JRJR, classic, probably the Daredevil story for me. This was like my first Daredevil story, and so I've major gaps in my Daredevil reading, and I think it's because of the series, because it's on point that it's how do you top this? But no, we covered this book. It was Jasmine and Mark's first time reading this. So it was cool to see, to get their opinion on something of this prestigious. Does it hold the weight that that's lauded for? To find out those answers, you got to tune in. But it was fun. It was a fun time. Great conversation. Check it out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, dropping tomorrow. Can't wait for that one. That one's gonna be awesome. All right, Robbie. Yesterday we had PCP movie night doing Lucio Fulci's The Beyond. That was awesome. Me, Fable, Jelani Brooks, Joe Corallo. Great time. And also Robbie dropped his second flip down or flip through today. Going through Liefeld and
is that Prophet?
What was Dan Panosian? Yeah,
it's Prophet. Yeah,
Dan Panosian on Prophet. Nick, of course, has got his, new comic book day haul, his FOC cutoff. He did a key comic breakdown of Old Man Skywalker by Daniel Warren Johnson this week. That was fire. Nick always doing great, consistent things. Y'all make sure you check out the biggest dirtbag in PCP Verno tomorrow has a great convo with Robbie and Fable about Jacob's Ladder. The 90s classic. This one's going to be good. I heard so many good things about this already. Can't wait to see this one dropping Thursday.
It's the best psychological thriller of the 90s, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
Station.
Yeah. Fable's taking 2 weeks off. Go catch that rewind with Fire Guy Ryan. Great show last Friday. Can't wait till we're back at it with the homies. Of course, Manny, always doing amazing things. Got the new Ice Cream Man and Avengers Twilight reviews out. Whether it's comic books, whether it's themes in horror movies, Manny's doing it all, man. Y'all check out Nerdtastic News on YouTube.
Very intrigued by that the Illusion of Freedom for the Ice Cream Man issue with the
right.
I was like,
dude, how is he like? I saw the one thumbnail, right? I'm like, dude, bro, just like said more than we said about that issue with one thumbnail. Like,
incredible.
The Illusion of Freedom.
I was like, God damn, Manny. Which goes to show you why we're having him on the show next week. We gotta guys are genius. Gotta have him on. Of course, he dropped his second video on the poll list. Doing great work already at 9-panel grid. Y'all make sure you check him out. Who else we got? Herm going live Sunday 1 p.m. with Tom, covering the new.
The way I keep up with Spider-Man.
ASM, same dude. I love Herm's. I love the Herm's different reading voices for the characters and stuff. It's so great. And at Ataki 616, doing my weekend your Wednesday in the Dollar Bin, or Death by Dollar Bins.
By Dollar Bin, baby. Love it.
Of course, I wanted to add on Jelani and Brooks. They're doing great figure reviews out here at Go Figure Reviews, putting up a bunch of content every week. Y'all check them out. Chris, what do you want to plug? What you got coming on real quick, man?
Man,
for the next week.
every single Thursday morning, got the top 3 comics of the week, where I just take a look at I read a ton of comics on Wednesdays, and then I tell you my top 3 favorite comics along with my comic reviews for the week. Next Tuesday, what is that? Next Tuesday, is it the 26th, March 26th, next Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
We start before you guys, so you can go watch us and then come over here. But 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will have our back issue reading club where we're doing Batman Year One. So we're going to revisit.
You're doing that with John, right?
Yeah, John's Comics with Kids coming
yeah.
in. I've got my guy Pouch with us, who is not a Batman fan, so it's going to be a fun. It's going to be a fun night. I'm hoping to kind of team up on the Pouch with John, because John loves this story. So we're gonna have a great time, man. So
that
Batman Year
awesome,
One.
dude.
This sounds like a blast. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Link, anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here, bro?
Yeah, thank you guys. Damn it. Next week I'll have something witty, but you guys are the best. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Yeah, as always, thank you guys for coming through. This was a great show. Chris, thank you for making the time for us. All 2 hours of it. You're one of the best doing it, dude. I love and appreciate you. You guys like you, guys like Nick, are guys I look up to and I emulate and want to, continue to try to walk after. So I thank you for everything you've done for me and for this community. We love you, bro.
I appreciate that, dude. Love you too.
Oh yeah.
Always pushing quality over.
Always quality.
Can't say enough about that, bro. It's about the books, and I wish I could find a better word for that, but it's not about the spec. It's not about any of the bullshit. It's about the enjoyment of the hobby. So I can always respect that you push that.
That at the end of the day, that's what our channel really is, dude. It's about the books, the stories, the characters, the creators. I tried to do that stuff in the past, and it's just not me, man. Like I don't care about that stuff. Not that it's bad or that anybody shouldn't care about it. It's just not it's not appealing to me. So I just talk about what I love about the hobby.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a beautiful note to send it out on. Yeah, make sure to be kind to each other out there. Take a extra moment. Find that patience. Be nice to somebody in line. Let somebody cross the street. Don't be in such a rush. Yeah, comics are meant to be read. Until that note, we'll see y'all next. We're coming back next Wednesday, guys. Wednesday at 9:30 with Manny. Can't wait. Yeah, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, new date, new time. Or back to the old slot, really. But yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Thanks again. Love y'all. Peace.